Step right up, folks, and journey back with me to a time of dust, danger, and gold fever. When you think of the Wild West, what comes to mind? Cowboys with spurs? Saloon brawls crashing through swinging doors? Quick-draw duels at high noon? You're not wrong, but that's only half the story. Today, we're riding into a town that was the heart of the untamed frontier, a place so legendary its name echoes through history. But we're not here to retell the tales you already know. We're here to dig deeper, to unearth the hidden secrets buried beneath the floorboards and whispered in the shadows of this notorious Wild West town. So saddle up, because what you're about to hear will change everything you thought you knew about the real Wild West. We're heading to Tombstone, Arizona. The name itself sends a shiver down your spine, doesn't it? Famed for the gunfight at the OK Corral, where Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday became legends. But the real story of Tombstone isn't just about gunslingers. It's about what made them flock there in the first place: silver. In 1877, a prospector named Ed Schieffelin was told the only thing he'd find in this Apache territory was his own tombstone. Well, Ed found something else: a massive silver lode. And just like that, a dusty, dangerous patch of desert exploded into a boomtown. Within a few years, Tombstone wasn't just a camp. It was a city with over 100 saloons, fancy hotels, an opera house, and even an ice cream parlor. It was the fastest-growing city between St. Louis and San Francisco. Now everyone knows about the saloons like the Crystal Palace and the Birdcage Theater. The Birdcage was famously called the wickedest and wildest night spot between Basin Street and the Barbary Coast. They say it never closed its doors for over 8 years straight. But here's a secret you might not know. Beneath the main floor in the poker room, the longest poker game in history was played. It ran 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for 8 years, 5 months, and 3 days. The buy-in was $1,000, an absolute fortune back then. Famous figures like George Hurst, Diamond Jim Brady, and even Wyatt Earp himself sat at that table. The stakes were so high that fortunes were won and lost on the turn of a single card. But the secrets of Tombstone run deeper than just gambling. Let's talk about the town's hidden infrastructure. Life was tough and clean water was as precious as silver. To solve this, a massive pipeline was constructed, stretching over 23 miles from the Huachuca Mountains. This engineering marvel brought fresh water into the homes of the wealthy, powering fountains and filling bathtubs. While cowboys were dusty in the streets, the elite of Tombstone were enjoying modern luxuries you'd only expect to find in New York or London. Imagine that. A town known for its grit and grime also had some of the most sophisticated plumbing of its time. This stark contrast between the rough and tumble life of the miners and the opulent lifestyle of the silver barons was the real source of tension in town, even more so than outlaws. And what about the so-called good guys? We see Wyatt Earp as a hero lawman, but the reality was much more complicated. The Earps weren't just marshals, they were businessmen, saloon owners, and gamblers. Their conflict with the Clantons and McClorys, the cowboys, wasn't a simple case of law versus crime. It was a power struggle for control of the town and its rackets. The cowboys were essentially a loose-knit gang involved in cattle rustling and robbery, but they also represented the rural, southern sympathizing faction of the county. The Earps represented the northern, business-minded Republicans who wanted to civilize Tombstone and control its wealth. The gunfight at the OK Corral wasn't just a duel, it was the violent climax of a political and economic war. Here's another layer: the role of women in Tombstone. History often remembers the saloon girls and dancers, but Tombstone was also home to incredibly resilient and entrepreneurial women. Take Big Nose Kate Horney, Doc Holliday's longtime companion. She's often portrayed as just a prostitute, but she was a savvy, independent woman who owned property and ran a boarding house. Then there was Nellie Cashman, known as the Angel of Tombstone. She was a successful restaurateur and hotel owner, but more importantly, a philanthropist. She raised money for the local hospital, the Catholic Church, and was known for her boundless charity, especially toward the miners who risked their lives daily in the silver mines. These women were the backbone of the community, building a society while the men were busy shooting at each other. Let's venture underground into the mines themselves. The miners' lives were brutal. They descended into dark, unstable tunnels, using candlelight and dynamite. Cave-ins were constant, and miners' consumption, a lung disease from inhaling rock dust, was a death sentence. But down in the dark, they had their own secret society. They developed a unique system of communication, using specific patterns of taps on the tunnel walls to signal danger, send messages, or call for help. This hidden language was a lifeline. Furthermore, high-grading or stealing small, high-quality pieces of ore was a common practice. Miners would smuggle silver out in their lunch pails, boots, or even their hair. It was a silent rebellion against the wealthy mine owners who paid them a pittance while making millions. This underground economy was a huge, unspoken part of Tombstone's wealth. And we can't talk about secrets without mentioning the ghosts. Tombstone is considered one of the most haunted towns in America. The Birdcage Theater is said to be home to dozens of spirits of cowboys, gamblers, and ladies of the night. Staff and visitors report hearing phantom laughter, the smell of cigar smoke, and even seeing full-bodied apparitions. At the OK Corral, people claim to see the ghostly figures of the cowboys, forever replaying their final fatal moments. Is it just the wind whistling through old wooden frames? Or is it the restless spirits of those who lived and died so violently? It's a secret the town holds close, adding another layer of mystery to its already legendary status. Finally, the biggest secret of all might be what happened after the boom. Tombstone's glory was short-lived. In the mid-1880s, the mines flooded. The pumps couldn't keep up, and the silver veins became unreachable. The money dried up, and the people left almost as quickly as they had arrived. Tombstone nearly became a ghost town itself. The town too tough to die was on life support. Its survival wasn't due to silver or guns, but to something else, its own story. Residents realized that the town's history was its new gold. They preserved the old buildings, embraced the legends, and turned Tombstone into a tourist destination. The secret to its survival was selling its past. The gunfights, the ghosts, the legends, they became the town's most valuable commodity. So, the next time you watch a Western or hear a story about Tombstone, remember the hidden truths. It wasn't just a town of black hat villains and white hat heroes. It was a complex city of innovation, political intrigue, powerful women, and secret societies, all built on a mountain of silver. The real Wild West was far more fascinating and far more human than the legends let on. The dust of Tombstone holds countless more secrets, waiting for those willing to look beyond the gunsmoke. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into the real Wild West. If you enjoyed uncovering these hidden histories, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more adventures into the past. Drop a comment below and let me know which notorious town we should explore next. Until then, stay curious.